Good evening, everyone. Today's session is on design thinking framework. We will be talking about what are the different things, what are the different steps that we have in our design thinking framework, what are the different stages we have, and then we will be talking about how to just take an example which is talking about how to apply design thinking to that, right? So let's begin with the session. First of all, before going into the detail, what are the stages? What is design thinking? Basically, design thinking is whenever you are like building any system, you have some thoughts, you have some different ideas, you just want to quickly build up that mock-up and then just present it, and then this process, this complete process, you identify something. Now, while identification, now you define this would be your problem, and then you ideate your problem, and then give different ideas, right, using different techniques, and then you build up a prototype, and then you test the prototype. And it is an iterative process. You may uh, like refine it later, right? So let us start with this. According to Wikipedia, what is design thinking? It is refers to the cognitive, strategic, and practical processes by which design concepts, your new, like how to build a project, how machines are developed, so all these things come under this only. The design thinking nowadays is a very very important process through which you can ideate your problems, and then you can find out the solution to the problems, right? That basically satisfy the needs of the customer. Okay, so design thinking is also associated with prescriptions for the innovation of products and services within business and social context. It is not only with specific application, it is not only used, it is used with general purpose applications also, right? Most often the design is used to describe hardware, machine, or a structure, but essentially it is a process. So there are different steps through which you can implement your idea, build a prototype, and then you can test it. It is a set of procedures and principles that employ creative and innovative techniques to solve any complex problem, any social or any problem that a person is having. You can solve that problem also using design thinking. So it is a way of thinking and working about the potential solution for the complex problem. Now these are the different stages of design thinking, right? First is empathize, then define. Now you define the problem, then you give the solution, you ideate, like this could be the idea to solve that problem, another idea, and number of, then you select the optimal solution to the problem. That would be your optimal solution for solving that problem. Then you build a prototype, and then you test that prototype. So it's a, you may say, it's an ongoing process, it is an iterative process, right? So let us begin with the first part, empathize. Empathize begins with empathy. What do you mean by empathy? Empathy means whenever you are putting yourself in someone else's condition, right? So in simple words, through empathy one is able to put oneself in others people's shoes, right, and connect with how they might be feeling at that time when they are having some problem or any circumstance that is not solved that particular person, right? So this is the first step. When you empathize yourself in someone else's condition and try to understand what type of feeling or what feelings the person is facing, what problem the person is facing. So there is a challenge one needs to solve. How does one approach it? Empathy starts from here. As a designer, the solution to a challenge, one should always understand the problem from the end user perspective. So if you are solving anything from your views, from your perspective, you are going to provide, this could be the solution, this could be the solution, or anything which could be the solution. But if you put yourself in that particular person situation, you can basically understand the real feeling which the real thing which the problem which is faced by that person, right? So this is how it is done. It is done by Observation. What are the methods of doing so? Observation, interaction, or you may have sometimes using imagination process also. So these are the three methods while you are putting yourself in someone else's condition, right? Then we have definition phase, define phase, right? In define phase, once you have put yourself in someone else's condition and try to understand what the problem, what the person is facing, right? Then you in this particular stage, now you can collect the information which you have collected in the empathize space. Now you can define the problem, right? So information collected during empathize is used to draw insights and is instrumental in stating the problem that needs to be solved. It's an opportunity for the design thinker to design the challenge, yes, to define the challenge or to write a problem statement in a human centered manner with a focus of unmet needs of the user. So, this is the main point. Whenever you are putting yourself in someone else's condition and try to find out what could be the problem that actually the person is facing, right, then only you can define it. Otherwise it would be like you are giving your solutions and it might be possible it is not like satisfy, the user is not going to satisfy with that kind of solution, right? Because you are at not at that particular stage which a person is feeling. So that's why the first phase is empathy. You put yourself in that particular situation, right? And then think upon that what could be the how to define this problem. So in the define stage, you are just defining the problem. Then we have ideate. Now this is the very very important step where you basically think about the solution part, how you are going to solve this problem. So let us see, this is very very important. You cannot say, there are different techniques also through which you can ideate. Brain dump, brainstorming, interviews, you may have number of techniques. Individual setting is there, like when you are just analyzing the feelings, just interacting with the person and try to find out the different solution, right? So different ideas for solving the problem. So that is, this is the phase for uh, design thinking. By now, the problem is obvious. It is time to brainstorm phase. So, I told you there are a number of brainstorming sessions, brainstorming techniques also through which you can ideate. Brain dump, brain writing, brainstorming, right? And methods to solve it. At this stage, numerous ideas are generated. So it might be possible you have created like this would be your idea one, this would be your idea two, this would be your idea three, so and so on, right? So it could be possible there are a number of ideas through which you can solve the problem, right? So which the idea which gives the optimal solution should be selected, right? So let us see. Ideas are generated as a part of the problem solving exercise. In short, ideation is all about idea generation, right? So in this phase we are talking about the different ideas for solving that particular problem. During brainstorming, one should not be concerned if the generated ideas are possible, feasible, even viable. The only task of the thinker is to think as many as ideas as possible for them. It requires going wide mentally in terms of concepts and outcomes. So there are many brainstorming tools through which you can basically generate the ideas, right? So in this phase we are going to use the number of methods, number of tools which are going to generate different ideas so that the user, the developer is going to solve that particular problem. By this time you are already aware of who your target users are and what is your problem statement, because we have already seen in this part like what is actually the person is facing. In this phase you have identified the root cause of the problem, like this is affecting that, right? And then you can only provide the solution, then only you can ideate, then only you can give an idea to solve the problem, right? Now it's time to come up with many possible solutions. This phase is all about creativity and imagination. It is not like that ki thousands of people are doing this for the like very much solution, so you are going to take that. No, you may ideate with creativity, or you may ideate some different ideas, some innovative ideas to solve that particular problem. All types of ideas are encouraged, whether stupid or wise. It hardly matters as long as the solution is imagined. So you have you are giving your imagination, right? So like in brainstorming sessions, what we are doing there are different tools we are using. Brain dumping we are using, brain writing we are using. So there are a number of sessions where a group of people are discussing and generating the ideas. A individual person which is very much shy and cannot basically speak out in front of public, they may write. So there are different brainstorming techniques also. There are different brainstorming tools for generating the ideas. It is not only talking about to generate. If a person is not able to speak out, they may write their ideas also. So there are techniques which are basically giving you some solution part, some ideas. Next part is, once you have done with this, you have seen number of ideas. Now you select the optimal solution, which is giving the idea, which is giving the optimal solution to the problem. You select that part. Next, in this particular stage, next stage would be a prototype. Now you start building the prototype. Prototype is, you may call it as a mock, right? Mock for your mock build up of your project, right? Mock build up of your problem or product. So prototype stage involves creating a model designed to solve customer problems, which is tested in the next stage of the process. Creating a prototype is not a detailed process because we call it as quick and dirty method. Why? Because there is no documentation, there is nothing, no formal kind of thing. Everything is done in a very quick and dirty way, just to make a prototype out of your whatever you have, your idea is, right? So it may include a developing simple drawing, poster, role playing, homemade gadget, or 3D printer product. So it could be any kind. Like there are different tools also for building the prototype, right? You may use any of them also for building such kind of thing. The prototype must be quick and easy to develop and cheap. I told you this is also called a dirty and quick method when we are making any prototype, because it would be a cheap thing, nothing is to be invested in that. You are just creating a overview, like your model is look like this, and it might be like some people like them, or it is in a kind of poster also. You may have digital poster also, right? And then the problem is solved out of that. Therefore, prototypes are visualized as rudimentary forms of what a final product is expected to look like. Prototyping is intended, basically, prototyping is actually giving how your product looks like, right? And then you test that prototype. So, this is the next step of, and the last step of design thinking, that is test. So one of the most important parts of design thinking process is to test the prototypes with the end users. Now the user is going to test it. This step is often seen ongoing parallel to prototyping. So as soon as you building the prototypes, the user may interact and then test that product. During testing, the designers receive feedback about the prototypes and get another opportunity to interact and empathize with the people, those who are finding the solution or those who are having the problem. Testing focuses on what can be learned about the user and the problem, as well as the potential solution. So after having all the ideas, after building the prototype, then you may refine it. That's why I call you empathize is the first phase, right? So again, you rework on your model to make your model efficient, and that gives you an optimal solution also, right? So let us see what are the different things that are involved in doing the design thinking, right? The first is right questioning. Whenever you have right questioning, designers basically generally avoid asking question to the users, as they work against stringent deadlines which demand quick solutions and delivery. So they are not asking anything. So what they can do is, in the process of developing solutions using design thinking framework, the designers are expected to interact with the customers, and they may have a such kind of template, like who, the questions, that the method they are going to use this. So it is the recommended and simple and reliable method of questioning. What is the problem? Who is having the problem? When this problem was arising? Why this problem was arising? or why you are going to build this, why, right, where this problem is arising and how you are going to solve it, right. So it basically it's the most relevant or most effective method for solving the problem. Then we have is ideate, like we have already discussed ideate. What are the different steps in this? Let us explore this part. So ideation is the process of generating ideas and solutions through sessions as sketching, prototyping. So you may have SketchUp tool for making the prototypes. You may have Tinkercad lab also for making the prototypes. You may have different brainstorming tools for generating the ideas. In the ideation stage, design thinkers generate ideas in the form of questions and solutions through creative and curious activities. It's not a kind of thing like you cannot have uh, only a tool to be used to generate the ideas or to basically implement your ideas. There are a number of things you can sit, three people can sit and write down their ideas and then discuss on those ideas. So it is up to the problem statement, how you are going to solve it, which method you are going to take it. So let us see amplify good and eliminate bad things. Explore opposites and question. I will be taking one example also how you are going to apply this. Identify an unexpected resources and then analyze it. So then first you explore everything, you select best out of it and then you explore it. So this is how uh, ideation takes place. What are the different ideation techniques? First is brainstorming. Brainstorming is what student leverage the synergy of the group to generate new innovative ideas by building on others' ideas. Like somebody is speaking in like in a group discussion, you are speaking, you get that idea, you integrate with your ideas and then discuss. Right? Participants should be able to discuss their ideas freely without fear of criticism. So large number of ideas are collected so that different opinions are available for solving the challenge. So like suppose you have problem different, you have different participants that is going to give you different ideas for solving that particular problem only, right? Then we have brain dump. So brain dump is very much similar to your brainstorming technique, but it is done individually, whereas brainstorming is done in a group. So it's done in individually. It allows the concerned person to open the mind and let the thoughts be released and captured on a onto a piece of paper. That's what I told you. The people those who are not able to speak in public, they may be using dumping techniques, right? This technique is very much useful for those people those who have innovative ideas but they are not able to speak out. So it allows the concerned person to open the mind and let the thought be released and captured on a piece of paper, right? The participants write down their own ideas onto paper or post-it notes and share their ideas later with a large group. So this is how this technique is implemented. The participants, the people, those who are not able to speak out, they can basically release their ideas and that can be captured on a piece of paper. They are going to write it. Now next thing is brain writing. It is again an individual brainstorming technique. So it is very much similar to brainstorming session only, and it is known as individual storming. So it is not done in a group. At times only the most confident of team members share their ideas while the introvert keep the ideas to themselves. So brain writing, again the same method which is very much similar to that kind of thing. Brain writing gives the introvert people time to write down instead of sharing their thoughts out loud with the group. The participants write down their three ideas on paper and after few minutes pass on their piece of paper to another participant who then elaborates it on the first person's idea and so forth. In this way, the problem is going to be solved, right? Like suppose I am going to write some idea, my idea, what my innovative idea to solve that particular challenge, right? And then I'm going to forward this piece of paper to another person, another participant. Then he is going to elaborate and integrate its idea with my idea, and then again this idea is going to be this piece of paper is again given to some other person for basically adding his or her views. So this is how the challenge can be solved, right? So let us take one simple example using empathy map. So when we talk about empathy, I told you what do you mean by empathy when you are putting yourself in someone else condition, right? So this is called a empathy map, which basically talks about the first condition. It's what is what you say, what you think, what you feel, and what you does, right? So these are the different like different steps of empathy map. Let us take an example. Nice to meet you. Where is the library? Says, right? Then thinks, will I fit in here? I am so lost. So you are thinking this thing, right? Nervous, lonely. How you feels? Lonely and nervous. And then what you does? Registers for the class, asks for directions, right? So here this is basically talks about how a problem is going to be when you are in the empathy phase, when you are focusing on empathy, right? How you are going to solve that particular problem, right? Let us take one example. Suppose you want to buy a TV, right? You are buying a TV. What could be the solution? So this part says, so what do you think? I was expecting something different. I want something reliable. What is the best size? So it is in your mind. What should be the brand? Where should I start? What will be the price? You compare all these things, what you say, all these things, and then what is the thing? What you think? What else am I missing? I might be possible I have not taken some of the reviews of that particular brand, wasting too much time on this. Why is this so hard? Right? Sometimes you feels what you thinks in your mind. This is the second stage. Do you think I am stupid? I want something awesome. Maybe this is not the best. So basically you are thinking everything now. In the feels part, you may be excited about that, you may be fear about that, you may be anxious what could be happen, what could happen after this, inadequacy because you don't know about that part, or unsure who to trust, basically overhand. So see that these are the some conditions, these are some feelings which you face when you are purchasing. Then we have is what you does. Now you basically what you does is you listen to the, you check out, you make the list of what are the pros and what are the cons of this particular product, right? You compare it with other products, right? Ask your friends, right? Now you start sharing your basically feelings with other people. More research on that, like what could be other things that can be added to this particular brand. Observes in store, like how it works. You may observe the like working of that particular product. Postpone big decisions. So you may be like, if you are not liking that part, you may postpone it. Checks the website, yes, and make small decisions. So basically here what we are doing is we are making the decisions, or we are, if we does not suit, if this map does not suit to us, then we are only going to postpone our decision. So this is a complete map, how to apply empathy, right? How to like feel like how the person is going to feel like using empathy map, right? So these are the different steps. So again, one thing more I want to tell you. Whenever we have this phase empathize, we might be using the empathy map for solving this phase, right? Because one needs to put uh, herself in someone else condition. If it is like, if you are not understanding like what he or she thinks, how you are going to solve the problem. So it is only possible when you are putting yourself in someone else's shoes, right? Then only you are going to understand what the actual problem is. And then this is the very, very important method which is used for solving the problem. And very simple method. Like we have what, why, for this, these are the w's which we where which we apply in every method, the 5 w's in one h, not only for solving the problem, in building our software also, whether the product is feasible or not, whether if, what type of feasibility is, or the whether the product is relevant or not. Everything is same, but your ideas would be different, right? So And these are the different ideation techniques which we have, right? So this is the empathy map which we apply to our, yes, for solving the problem. So hope you have understood how design thinking, how design thinking framework is used for solving a particular problem, right? What are the different steps? What are the different steps is, I would say, first is empathize, where you put yourself into someone else's condition. Then second is you have to define it. What is the problem? Now you have, you have empathize it. Now you have to work upon the definition part of the problem. Next is now you generate ideas using different ideation techniques. It could be brainstorming, it could be interviewing, it could be a kind of like how you are going to represent that part, right? And then we have the fourth step, that is prototype. Now you start building your prototype and just use quick and dirty method for building that kind of prototype that is going to satisfy the customer. And even in some cases the customer interaction and intervention is very much allowed to improve your prototype, to improve your product, so that the developer, the person, is able to understand what actual the customer wants. Is I am satisfying the needs of the customer? Is this product is going to serve for that particular customer? Or the customer is saying like, after building the prototype, no, I don't require such kind of thing. So in between only, before testing, the intervention and the interaction of the customer, of the user, is allowed. Why? So that the user have an idea what is to be developed and how it is going to be developed, right? And then after that, once it is done with that, then you can test it. And now whatever the you have taken the suggestions from the user, you have implemented it, you have built that prototype. Now you can test it. Now the user can give the feedback, okay, yes, what I need is actually expected with this prototype or not. So what is expected, then you can easily trace out, right? Because the customer is giving, the user is giving the response, right? The user is basically providing the feedback on which the developer can work out and take the necessary steps, right? So it's an iterative process. Like in this diagram also you have seen, this is an iterative process. This is not a like this step is over, now you cannot, you have to move to the next step. No, this is, these steps are basically, it is an ongoing process and continuously, until and unless the customer is satisfied, this these steps are needs to be followed. Yes. Why? Because we are only here to think and give a best possible solution to the user. So this is the motive of design thinking, and this is the framework. So hope you have understood and like this session, right? Thank you.